Thank you for stopping by Ballistic BBQ. On this video, I'm going to be cooking up some Texas-style beef ribs. Let's get going. All right, so here are the ribs, beef back ribs. Basically, these came from the prime rib roast, and as you can see, membrane's been removed, and just some minimal trimming. Some of the chunky, hard pieces of fat have been removed. Now, I'm always getting comments about, I can't find beef ribs this beefy, and here's a little advice that I give you. Realize that beef ribs are usually, it's a byproduct of trimming. So when they're trimming off ribs, they're going to try to keep most of the meat on the roast because they're staking that out for boneless ribeye steaks. So I always go into the butcher shop, if you have access to a butcher, and ask them to cut some ribs from the roast for you. And I can tell you this, that after the holidays is a perfect time to do that because they've had this big rush of people buying standing rib roasts, and now they have a few that they really need to stake it out. So perfect time to ask for some beef ribs. These are pretty nice. As you can see, they're pretty beefy. A couple bones have kind of shined through, but we're not going to worry about that. So first thing I'm going to do is add a binder, and I like, whenever I'm doing beef, and this goes with brisket as well, I like to use Worcester sauce. Saying Worcester, I still would like to know, Great Britain, why the proper pronunciation is Worcester, not Worcestershire. Just looking at the spelling, doesn't make any sense, but doesn't matter. So anyway, I'm going to add this, and this just really enhances flavor of beef. It's got that forbidden word quality, the umami quality. Smells so good. So as this evaporates during the cooking process, it's just going to leave behind a really good flavor that goes so well with beef. All right, now for the rub, and we're going pretty traditional Texas. This is simply black pepper and kosher salt, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, however, when I made this, I added something a little special. I added just a little bit of adobo seasoning. So when I made it, it was 1 cup salt, 1 cup black pepper, and 2 tablespoons of adobo seasoning. This is just going to give it a little bit something special there, some more herbaceousness and some garlic. So we're going to go ahead and add this. All right, and there we are. As you can see, I went pretty heavy on this. Very, very rich cut of meat, and it can handle the seasoning. I have the Gator Pit preheated outside, so I will meet you in the backyard. All right, the pit is running at 250 degrees, burning pecan wood. Put the rack down here on the lower grate. Now, as you can see, I have a temperature probe running here at grate level. Have my water pan going. Even though, as you can see, it's raining right now, so there's plenty of humidity in the air. So normally when I cook beef ribs like this, we're looking at about a 4-hour cook. I'm cooking them until they're done, until they're as tender as I want them to be. Nice thing about back ribs is they come from the prime rib roast, so they're very tender anyway. After about probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm going to check on them, just check for color, see if they're drying out. If they are, what I'm going to do is mist them with unsalted beef broth in a spray bottle. And I'll repeat that probably every 30 minutes throughout the cook, just to make sure they're not drying out on me. Anyway, see you in the next step of this game here. Just took a look at the ribs. They're looking great. A few areas on the surface are looking like they're starting to dry out just a tad, so I'm going to mist it. Again, like I said, unsalted beef broth. This is not going to add any more sodium, but it's just going to layer on that, just that good beefy flavor that we want with beef ribs. And that's about as easy as it gets. While I'm thinking about it, I was looking at the lid here on my pit. Someone's going to ask, so I'm going to explain. There's these kind of drips on here. Last year, I was resealing my deck, and the high pressure bottle that I was using to spray the sealant pretty much exploded on me, and it made, you wouldn't believe the mess it made. And unfortunately, the old Gator Pit was tucked off in the corner of the patio out in the hot sun, and the sealant pretty much dried instantly when it hit there. So it's going to take a razor blade, a couple beers, and a lot of patience, but I'll get it off eventually. It doesn't affect the cooking at all, but it just doesn't look that great. Anyway, I'll be checking for dryness again in about, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. If it needs it, give it a little bit of spritz. See you in a bit. Wild parrots that visit us this time of year. All right, we're at hour 2 now, and we're going to do a couple things. First off, you notice how the bones at this end of the rack are pulling back. That's great, but they're not really pulling back so much here. So it's an offset cooker. My firebox is at this end, and I do have diffusion plates, but again, a lot of heat's coming from over there. What I'm going to do is rotate the rack around. And this way we'll get a nice even cook, and the meat will start pulling back from this side now. And I'm going to go ahead, hit this with some more of this unsalted beef broth. All right, so Gator Pit's been running like a champ. I mean, it's just been chugging along 250 degrees, very clean smoke. So I'm really happy. Just touching those ribs just now, they're feeling like they're really coming along nice and tender. So, like I said, I'm thinking it's going to be about 4 hours. See you in a bit. All right, we just hit the 4-hour mark. I checked the ribs. They are done. Super tender. Check it out. So I like to test the ribs just as I would a brisket, you know, giving up the ghost, so to speak. So I'm just going to use my meat probe. See, look at that. In and out with no resistance at all. Just beautiful. Now, as far as those ribs shining through, like I showed initially, you can see what happens here. The meat just pulls away from the top as well. Again, we're eating these. It's not going to be here for any type of competition or anything. So what I'm going to do now is pull these off the pit, let them cool down a little bit, slice them inside the kitchen. It's going to be good. See you inside. All right, here we are, the ready-to-eat product. And like I said, I expected, you know, these rib bones to poke out just because the butcher did kind of carve so close there. Kind of a bummer just for presentation reasons, but it's going to be good. All right, let's try these guys. Oh, nice, tender. Look at that. You tell me. Juicy and a nice smoke ring. Let's give this a try. Just pure beef. You know, you're not smelling any of that like sweet stuff. Not that I mean, I like a sweet rib, but this is just pure beef. Oh. I like this. I love beef ribs, and I'll be honest with you, I like beef ribs better than pork ribs. We grew up a beef eating family. My wife loves beef ribs, my son. And to me, when I'm eating these, it just sings of, you know, prime rib. You get that kind of nice, that sticky fat, if that makes any sense, that's kind of clinging to your teeth, and really good. So juicy. Anyway, guys, appreciate you stopping by. This is my first video for 2017. And basically the plan is, you know, I've been looking back in the archives. It's time that I kind of start freshening up some of my older type cooks, a lot of my older low and slow stuff. So stand by. I'm going to be doing a lot of cooks like this, briskets, butts, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I will see you on the next video. Thanks for stopping by. Happy New Year. Cheers.